Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here with another video, and today I wanted to touch on just a relationship video. You know, sometimes I do a mix-up where I'm talking about relationships and I'm talking about you know, Jesus himself, the Word of God, but I just wanted to get on here and talk about relationships and talk about dating and talking about being in exclusive or official relationships with people. I'm here for us to realize and know that all of us, you know, you hear many people, and it may be so like cliche-ish, or it may be something that kind of goes in one ear and out the other. So you may hear people saying, well, we're not perfect, we're not perfect, we're not perfect. So sometimes that becomes like a broken record, and you know, people just sort of like, oh, okay, we're not perfect, it's not a big deal. But the reality of it is we are not perfect. And when it comes to dating and relationships, we all come with something. We all come with something. But what I realize is that your boundaries and you placing yourself at a high standard determines what will you or what you will not tolerate. It determines what you will and what you will not open your life to and open up your life to receive in it. And that's why it's important to have boundaries and see yourself at a higher standard, because then you know what you're tolerating, you know what you will tolerate, you know when someone is pushing those buttons or pushing your boundaries or even overstepping your boundaries, that you're able to pull back and realize that this is not for you. So it's better for you to leave this exactly where it's at and then just move on with your life. But that's when you have boundaries and you have placed yourself at a high standard. And what I mean at a high standard is that you are not willing to settle for anything less. Like, you're not settling. Okay, to see yourself at a high standard, it just crossed my mind. To see yourself at a high standard is in tune with your boundaries, which means that I'm not settling for anything less. And if you want to get spiritual, you can say, I'm not settling for anything less than God's best for my life, because God, our Lord and Savior, our Father who is in heaven, does not want us settling for anything that is less than Him. So when you have these boundaries, there's a difference between boundaries and preferences. Preferences is what you like. Boundaries is what you need. Because preferences, okay, that's not a big deal. Okay, I prefer that, but I'm okay with this because this aligns, okay? I have to think, that's okay. This aligns with my boundaries, okay? This aligns with my boundaries. This is on my level. This is in tune with me, okay? This is me and this individual seeing eye to eye and being able to walk side by side and hold hands together, okay? So preferences, okay, that doesn't really, I'm not going to get so caught up in that. But you do, of course, want to, there be a physical attraction. You know, he's physically attracted to you, you're physically attracted to him, but we just don't want to just put everything on preferences and we don't have any boundaries, because preferences is also in accordance to what we see physically when it comes to a person. So, you know, he got to have or she got to have a certain amount of money. They got to work a certain kind of job. They got to look a certain kind of way. They got to drive a certain kind of house. They got to drive a certain kind of car. They got to live in a certain kind of house and all this and that. All of that is preferences that is attached to what you physically see. But your boundaries is aligned with your beliefs and your values, stemming from what is in you, from your inner self, from your core. Therefore, you place yourself at a higher standard, saying, I'm not settling for anything less. Okay? So, am I saying that preferences don't matter? I'm not saying that, but many of us have all of these preferences, but we don't have no boundaries. So when we encounter somebody, or when we get into a relationship with somebody, then they're pushing you over the top. They're pushing you overboard, and you don't even know what is happening, what is going on. And this is what I will say too. That is the reason why, and this right here is for us women, because I've been there. That is why we deal with so much crap and so much stuff in a relationship, is because we don't have those boundaries. So we're not understanding, we don't know, we're just there, we're sticking it out. We know that he's not being faithful, we know that he's being abusive, we know that he's not being committed, we know that we're wasting our time, we know that he does not love us or love you, but yet you choose to just stay there and just take on all of this, and you are stressed out, you are depressed, you are broken down, you are weakened. You're crying every day, you're running up behind him because you're out of your mind. All of that, when we take on so much of that, it's like, where's your boundaries? There's none. You know, do you see yourself at a higher standard? No. And this is what I am going to say, because I'm just going to be transparent with you. I have not always been a woman with boundaries. I mean, I was a woman at one time without no boundaries. It was like, hey, if any man came along and gave me or showed me just a little bit tad of attention, I was taking it and I was running with it. A woman without boundaries, if you want it, you got it. And you know, I was that woman. So I have not always had boundaries. I have not always seen myself as someone valuable, or someone worthy, to have something good, to have something great, to have something more than I could ever imagine. Like, I was not always been that woman, but I desire to be that woman now, because I'm getting older, and as I get older, you know, I don't want to just get older and not grow. I want to get older and become wiser. So when it comes to approaching this dating thing, when it comes to approaching this relationship thing, I want to be able to know exactly what I'm doing, and I want to go into this thing the right way. And also too, for me, just putting myself out there, and this is just for me, and this is also some advice for you, just putting myself out there just to date, that's not going to work for me. My thing is just out here dating random people and just opening up yourself to all of these different spirits. You don't know what you're entering to. You don't know who you're allowing in your heart and your mind, and you have all of these different kind of people that you're allowing yourself to be around, that you are allowing to be included in your circle or whatever. That can be very damaging and very detrimental to your spiritual state. So that's not the right way, or that wouldn't be a good way or a good route to take. I do believe that at times there are seasons in our life, and I think that every season that we're in, am I saying that it's not easy? It is not easy. Some days are better than others, and some days it's like, man, this is really a challenge. But when you are not doing this in your own self and in your own might, then you are able to find yourself being able to endure, and being able to persevere, and being able to keep fighting and remain standing because you keep passing the test. And I just want to, because it's so important, because we're living in a time now, we're living in a world now where people hate truth. It's like, tell me what I want to hear, tell me what feels good to me, tell me. No, that's not going to get you anywhere if you just have itching ears and you just want somebody to make you feel good. That's not going to get you very far. But for me, I have gotten to a place, and I'm here to let you know, it takes being at a level of growth to be able to get to a place to say, tell me the truth. I need to hear the truth, because it's the truth that will set and make you and I free. Don't just tell me what I want to hear. That's not going to do nothing for me. I need you to tell me the truth. I need you to tell me the reality. If I'm running up behind a man, if I'm about out of my mind over a man, if I'm trying to figure out how is it that I love him and he can't love me back, how is it that I want him and he doesn't want me back, you want somebody to tell you the truth, that the reality of it is he does not want you, period. And the reality of it is he's just not for you. That's the reality. But see, if I just tell somebody what they want to hear, then I'm telling them, oh, well, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to stick it out, and eventually he'll realize that you're a good woman for him and that he's making a big mistake, and then he's going to come running to you, when the reality of it is majority, most, if not almost all, that hardly ever happens. So you mean to tell me that I don't want somebody to tell me I have to wait on a man, because I could be waiting for the rest of my life. And time, I don't know, time is the essence. Time is so valuable. And I don't want to hold up my life waiting on this man to change. Get this. And when the reality and the truth of it is he's not for me. And there's so many times, I know I'm getting off track here, but there's so many times where I've been in a relationship with men and it's just been purely just a waste of time. Like I should not have even been in this relationship. Like, this relationship should not even have gone as far as it did. But that was just me with all of these issues. And see, that's what causes you and I to make these unwise and not so good choices and decisions when we have so much going on inside of us. When you have so much going on inside of you, you will not be wise when it comes to picking and choosing properly, because you have so much going on. A lot of times is we're looking for love, and we're chasing love, and that's not how you get love. I believe love comes to you. True love comes to you when you choose to become love. But chasing love and trying to find love is not going to come to you in that way until you get to a place where you honestly and you truly love yourself. Then love, which means a man knowing how to lead in love, will find you. And you won't have to do anything. You won't have to do anything. You just make sure you're doing what you need to do. You're keeping yourself healthy. You're taking care of yourself. Your overall well-being, your inner self, your outer self. That's all you need to do. Just keep doing the work. Who is for you will gravitate towards you, and you will gravitate towards them. You don't have to be running out there looking and saying, okay, is it him? Is it him? You don't have to be in a frantic. You don't have to do anything like that. It will come to you. What I found out is that God is a connector, and he knows how to bring people together that is destined, that it's the divine relationship, it's the divine partnership. God knows how to do that. He is the Lord of a connector. He knows how to bring it together. He is Jesus the connector. Okay, so what I meant is that I'm getting off track here because everything I just said, it wasn't intended for me to say, but hey, I said it because I believe somebody needed to hear it. We all come with something. We all come with something. But having boundaries will determine what you will and will not tolerate. What will you tolerate? What will you not tolerate? Okay, we all come with kids. We all come with bills and probably debt. We all come with a past. What are you willing to open up your life to and say, you know what, I can work with that. I can work with that. But see, what I'm finding out now, a lot of us are in relationships, and it's not just little stuff where you can say, I can work with that. No, it's a lot of stuff that's going on that's really, really toxic and very abusive, very damaging, and that can really take you over the deep end and really mess you up. That a lot of us are in these type of relationships. A lot of us are in relationships with people that we are clearly wasting our time. You've been there for years, but yet this person remains the same and does not want to commit to you, does not want to be faithful to you, is not ready to settle down and make you his wife. Just, settle down and make you his wife. Just not wanting to just settle down and just be committed and just do right by you. And this can work both ways. I know that I tend to just be a woman. I tend to just go directly to the women. But this can work both ways. You as a woman, the ball is in your court, so you need to decide on a time limit. The ball, the power is in our hands. If you know that you've been seeing this guy dating together and it's been a year, it's like, okay, is he going to up his game, or do I need to just walk away? Because if a person does not desire what you desire, or when a person just isn't ready for what you're ready for, then that means that person isn't for you, and there is no need in you sticking around, because now you're just wasting your time. And that's okay, because I'm here to let you know that life is all about living and learning. But many of us are just living, but we're not learning, and we're not growing because we just don't want to do the work. And a lot of times it's because there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. And if you don't like the way I am, then you can just keep it moving. You can just keep it pushing and all of that. But I see what you don't see, because there's a lot going on. Okay, if somebody has that type of attitude, there's nothing you can do about that. I cannot change myself. But when back years ago, I thought I could change him, but then I had to think, I can't change myself. I need Jesus each and every day to keep me together, because it's not easy. Sometimes you just want to let people have it. I mean, I'm serious, and I'm just being honest. Sometimes you just want to let people have it. They're saying things to you, they're treating you a certain way, and you just want to let go and let loose and say, you know what, I just want to give it to them. But then that's when you have to say, God, keep me. God, help me, because I know that's not producing the righteousness of God. And how would that benefit me? And that's what I'm saying. It's not easy having to bite your tongue. It's not easy having to turn your cheek. It's not easy having to turn a shoulder. Like, it's not easy. It's just not easy. You know what I'm saying? So this walk with Christ is not an easy thing, but it is so worth it, you all. It is so worth it, because God will give you the ability to see who is for you and who is not for you, but yet love no matter what, even if that means you got to do it from a distance. So we all come with something. What does he come with that you're willing to tolerate in accordance to your boundaries? If he has 2 kids from a previous relationship, are you willing to open up your life to that? Are you willing to open up your life to he has 5 or 6 kids by 3 or 4 different baby mothers, but he really doesn't see his kids. He really doesn't have a relationship with them. Are you willing to open up your life to that? You know, are you willing to open up your life to someone who has children, but yet they have a great relationship with their children? And not only do they have a great relationship, like they're there, they're present, they're involved, although they're not with their child's mother or their children's father, they have a great relationship with their children. This is what you've seen firsthand since you've been talking to this person, dating this person. But then they also have a good co-parenting relationship with the other parent. Because my thing is this, I know a lot of us women, right, sometimes we're always sometimes we want to be in competition, right? So sometimes it really strokes your ego, and it really gets you going when you're with a man and he's bashing his baby mama. Like sometimes you're like, oh, he bashing her because I'm better than her and he's with me now and he's not with her. But let me give you something to think about. If a man is bashing the woman that he has actually have children with, that he has planted his seed in, that is the mother of his child, if he's like going in talking about her like a dog to you, what makes you think, wouldn't you wonder what he's saying about you behind your back? Think about that. Like, if he can bash his children's mother, she's a woman and you're a woman, if he can talk about a woman like that, then why would you think he wouldn't do you like that? You know, that wouldn't set well with me. That's just me. That wouldn't set well with me. Because if you can dog a woman down like that, then who am I? You know, you do me like that. So I couldn't trust that. And that's just something that I wanted to put out there. So if you're willing to open up your life to a man who has kids, it's important to know what kind of relationship he has with his children. Is he a present father? Is he there? Does his children know him? What kind of relationship does he have or does she have with her children's father or his baby mom? You know? Are you willing to open up what are you willing to open up your life to? What will you tolerate? You know? Sometimes, you know, we want to think about the small stuff because it's the small things that really matters. You know, I'm not saying that you just have to, I'm not talking about toxicity. I'm not talking about immaturity. I'm not talking about abusiveness. I'm not talking about you tolerating and opening up your life to that because you just think that you can change him and that you can fix him. And there's nothing you can do. Because if you cannot change yourself, you cannot change anybody else. If someone is willing to put in the work and do the work, you as a woman who is spiritual and who has positive vibes and has that positive energy and that godliness, you can have a woman influence on him because he's already working on himself, because he desires to be a better man for himself, to be a better man to be used by Christ, and he wants to be a better man for you. So it's like your woman influence is like the icing on the cake. That's how that works. But if you're with someone that's just not willing to want to change, and this is just who he is and he's okay with that, there is nothing that you can do, there's nothing you can say to change that. He has to be willing to make that change and come to that realization himself that, man, maybe I need to grow up, maybe I need to take on more responsibility, I really need to work on getting myself together. But he has to getting to that place on his own. That's when he has gotten to that place, that's when as a woman's influence will have an impact now. But your woman influence is not going to do any good on a man that's just set in his ways and he telling you what you see is what you get, and if you don't like it, you can just keep it moving. And what you and I should do is take him up on that offer and then get moving, because hey, You didn't already told me what it is. And that's also another thing when I'm seeing too. A lot of men sometimes come to you and, I mean, they tell you what it is. They lay it out. They tell you what it is. They tell you, sometimes some men tell you what they want from you. Sometimes they tell you exactly why they're there. And sometimes we think, oh, he just saying that and he's just talking. He don't mean that. Yes, he do mean that. And sometimes, ladies, we have to speak up. We have to speak up. If a man is coming at you wrong, you don't have to get rude. You don't have to curse him out. You don't have to get out of character. You don't have to be all disrespectful, but you do have to speak up and say, hold up, I'm not that type of woman. I don't get down like that. That's just not me. And sometimes a man approaches you that way because sometimes, a man is just used to dealing with women, and I'm just going to say it, that don't have any boundaries and just don't have any standards, So, and like I said earlier in this video, I was that woman, that I never always had boundaries. I was just that type of woman that was just out there. I was just out there for attention. I was an attention seeker. I was just desperate. I was wanting somebody to love me and all of that. And in return, I got everything wrong, because I was wrong and I wasn't right and I wasn't healthy. I wasn't stable. So, and because of that, what came to me wasn't right, wasn't stable, wasn't fitting for me, wasn't healthy. And that's how it is. You attract who you attract who you are. You attract what you have become. You know what I mean? So, and things of that. What does he come with? Does he come with not knowing how to cook? Okay, you may be a woman that's like, okay, I don't really know how to cook either, but we can learn together. You know that he can't cook when you bite into some fried chicken and blood is all, you're like, oh, okay, we need to learn how to cook some chicken or whatever we cooking. Every time he cooks, he burns up something or she's burning up something. Like, okay, we need to learn how to cook. Okay, does she come with not knowing how to cook? Does he come with just leaving his clothes on the floor and you're like, can you please pick up your clothes and put them in the dirt? Like, I'm so tired of seeing your clothes on the floor. But then you start to notice as time go on, there's progress. You start to notice that the cooking is getting better. Oh, the fried chicken is off the chain now. I don't see no blood. I'm starting to see all the clothes in the hamper when they used to be all over the floor. But can you put the toilet seat down when you get done? Because I almost fell in, so then you start to see the toilet seat down. It's the little things that matters. I'm not talking about all of this major stuff that can really do something to you and that really hinders your ability to trust and hinder your ability to even love, because you've been in such toxic and negative relationships that it has really caused you to just put up a barrier over your heart. Like, nobody's getting in, and I'm not getting out. It's like, instead of guarding your heart, you have actually put a wall up over your heart. I'm not saying dealing with anything like that. That's not healthy, that's not stable, and that you have to make a wise decision. It's the little things, So what will you tolerate? Because there's some things that you and him or you and her can actually work on together, and that the two of you can actually get it right. It's little stuff, and things of that. If she's the type of person that she doesn't track her spending habits and she doesn't really know what she's spending, it's not that she has a really, a issue or some kind of addiction when it comes to shopping and spending money and credit cards and all of that, but something like helping her track what she's spending, and for her to even think about what she's buying. Like, do you really need to buy that right now, or do you just want to spend money? So really helping her create a budget, something like that. That's something that she may not has always done. Are you willing to open up yourself are you willing to tolerate that and help her and assist her in something like that? What does he come with? If he has a hard time, it's not that he doesn't communicate with you. It's not that you all don't have good ongoing conversations, but it's just sometimes he just does not really communicate with you very well. So are you willing to tolerate that and address that, and the two of you can kind of work through that? I'm talking about kind of like minor things, small things, the two people that can act like we can actually come together and we can work through this. It's those type of things. It's the little things that the two of you are able to kind of come together, because sometimes you have to point things out, and when you point it out, a person is like, oh, okay, let's work on that. And it's so good to be able to be with someone and in a relationship with someone where the two of you are just on one another's board. Like, he's on your board and you're on his board, and we're like, okay, we're working through things. We're working through learning how to cook. We're working through learning how to properly do laundry and fold up clothes. Like, we're working through cleaning up, or even cleaning up after ourselves, or picking up after ourselves, and things of that. Like, we're working through this. We're working on trying to be more neater. We're working on trying to budget more and write down what we're spending and keeping track of what's in our accounts and things of that. So kind of working, what are you willing to open up your life to and tolerate into your life in accordance to your boundaries, and you seeing yourself at a high standards. Because when we say things as women, like, he's my knight in shining armor, he's not perfect, but he's perfect for me, and I'm perfect for him. So he sweeps me off my feet, and he's like my knight in shining armor. But we're working through things, and we're going to overcome, and it's the little things. It's those small things that we still have to work through. It's even those things sometimes where it's like, okay, I can tolerate this, but sometimes it gets on my nerves. And then eventually it's like, okay, he gets it, she starts to get it, and it's all about progress. And that's the type of relationship that you and I should desire, a relationship where you see growth, you see elevation, you see progress. Like, we're not here 2, 3, 4, 5 years and it's the same old thing with you, it's the same old thing with me. Like, nothing is happening. Like, you're still the same 5 years ago. Like, this relationship is like at a complete standstill. It's time that maybe you should it's time for you to make a decision. If you still want to stay there for another 5 years, or realize that, man, it's time to let it go now, because I'm not getting anywhere in this relationship, and nothing's happening. Everything is at a standstill. I feel like I'm being held back from what I really want to pursue and what I really want to focus on. So I'm just going to leave this relationship, just move on, realizing that it's better for you to move on with your life, and I'm going to move on with mine. So what are you willing to tolerate? And it's the small things that matter the most. If it's those small things, you know what I'm saying? If it's those things, like, just small things, but what's considered small to you may not be so small to me, or what's considered like really big for you, it may be different for me, or whatever. But you have to know, what are you willing to open up your heart to, open up your life to receive into your life, and vice versa. Because we all come with something. I come with something, I come with something. So you're not getting, a person here that's completely perfect, that has all of her T's crossed, all of her I's dotted. But I'm willing to do work. I'm working because I desire to grow. I desire progress and elevation, and just to go higher. And that takes being in a certain and particular specific mindset to be able to do that. So we all come with something. We all come with something, but what are you willing to tolerate? What will you not tolerate? And what will you say, okay, that's not for me, that's not going to work for me, I don't want that. Okay, I can tolerate that, I can handle that, I can work with that. Like, we can work on this together, and that's what it's really about, you know. And all of this aligns with your boundaries and that high standard. Your high standard, seeing yourself at a high standard, stems from your boundaries. Boundaries are realistic, you know. It's boundaries that you can actually enforce, you know, and things of that. What are, you know, your boundaries, you know. If you have a boundary in place and you see somebody pushing that or trying to push you just overboard, you know, sometimes when you're noticing that it seems like don't have no regards about how you feel or anything like that, they're not listening to you, you're saying, no, I don't want to do that, I don't like that, I don't feel comfortable with that, and it just seems like they're just pushing and pushing, and you have your boundaries intact. That's someone that's pushing your boundaries. You don't want that. You don't want anyone to do that. When a person comes to realize, like, okay, I understand and I respect that, because that's what it's also is to you all, a matter of respect. When a person respects you, that person is going to respect your boundaries as well. They're not going to be trying to overstep your boundaries after you've enforced and enforced your boundaries. You know, they're going to be like, if a person really respects you and your boundaries, they're going to say, okay, you know, I'm okay with that because I respect you enough, you know, and I value you and I honor you, you know. So I just wanted to get on here and talk about that. We all come with something. So if you're expecting somebody to come forth and they have all of their ducks in a row, no. If you come with something, then he or she is going to come with something. So until next time, you make sure you take care and be safe.